outset, I'm very much thankful to Sister Dr. Upasna, all the colleagues and this institution for inviting me, giving me this opportunity today morning here. It's really a pleasure for me to be here and have some sharing with you as a teacher, teacher educator, and a practitioner for more than 3 decades in this field. I am obliged by and indebted to Patna Women's College. I was a faculty at Patna University in the Department of Education, Postgraduate Department of Education, for nearly a decade. And my education also partly was from Patna University. I was a student of Patna Science College after my matriculation long back in 1975. So Patna University, and then again I joined as faculty here. And during this period, my children grew up, and I have a daughter, very lovely. Usually, all the daughters are lovely ones. And then I had all respect for Patna Women's College. During my student days, I used to read and hear more about this college, especially for girls' education. And when I joined here, my impression was that this is the best institution under Patna University umbrella. So I put my daughter here in the UG course, and she completed her graduation with English Honours Literature from Patna Women's College. And those were the days when I used to come to, I didn't know many people here in the management, but I used to often come to the English department, and some of the teachers, they knew me, so I used to come. So I have a little, very passionate relationship with this Patna Women's College. This BEd thing, it has come up of late, much late. It has been added to this Patna Women's College fold. And it is just a mere chance that I was in that committee, and still I am continuing. It's all mere chance because it's tenure intervention, and after some time I might be out and somebody else will come. So because I was there, I could do something for this course, and I could do even going little extra mile. It's not ethical, but I covered that extra mile to favor the institute, and somehow the things are okay now. So now when I see you all, and as sister has mentioned, and in between I used to have some brief conversations with Dr. Upasna, and I always liked her approach, the way she used to approach me and share me about the institution and her passion for this. So I could imagine that, oh, there is some person, a leader, someone who be guiding properly this program there. So I was a little confident as well as proud of her. See, this BEd is this teacher training program. It is a burnout case in this country, and especially in some states like Bihar. Bihar is one of them. And I have no respect for this training program, such training programs. There are nearly 18,000 BEd teacher training colleges, institutions in this state, in this country, and even more than 200-300 BEd institutions are there in Bihar. So there was a time, mushroom growth, many institutions came up, and they came up with different agenda and purposes. And the repercussion is, the consequence is that day by day we are spoiling, and the school education is deteriorating in all these states where the teacher training institutions are more in number. So, be it Uttar Pradesh, be it Madhya Pradesh, be it Rajasthan, be it Bihar, Jharkhand, things are so pathetic with teacher training institutions. Horrible, horrible. And then the situation has come to the skewed point where there is no relationship between the demand and supply. The number of teachers we require in the state or the vacancies are lying, and the number of products we are sending to the society market every year, there is no proportion, there is no match. That is another administrative worry. But the biggest worry is the quality. Had there quality been in teacher training institutions, just imagine, well, hundreds and hundreds of teacher training institutions are there, and each year we are sending a chunk, thousand of teachers with certificates to the market, and some of them, most of them, they are being absorbed also here and there by the system. Now they are somewhere in the school, and if you look at the school index, quality index, whatever survey you take up, national, regional, NGO-based surveys, you will find that the situation is very, very disappointing. Can you think of the relationship between the teacher training institutions and the school now? Our products are going from this classroom. Our products will go to some schools, they will be there, they will be getting job, they will be teaching there, and the school is going day by day, going down day by day. Can we take a pause and just think on this? Okay, I can understand that all the teacher training institutions are not on the same page. Some are very good in terms of, say, infrastructure. Some are just have done makeshift arrangements just to manage a show while inspection, and in paper they are good at, and so somehow, and then they have other push and pull, some connections, and they get the license, they get the affiliation, they get the recognition, and they And the interest is something else, minting money and all that. So there are variations. Somewhere something is there, infrastructure is there. Somewhere infrastructure is not there. Somewhere infrastructure is there, faculty is not there. Somewhere, yes, some faculties are there, faculty members are there, but they are also not as per the rule book, because the regulatory body has set the guidelines, the requirements. You have to have this, and with this qualification you have to have, and this number. So if you go by minutely those checkpoints, you will not find. So that is one thing. Then I have often seen that the faculty members also, they are being exploited by the management here and there. Though the stories also, we get the letters as a member of ERCR and city. So we do come across these problems. But that is not my point, what I am trying to share here. My point is, have you ever thought, it is for my dear students here sitting and esteemed faculty members here, have you ever thought of that whatever you are doing in the classroom or in the institute, have you understood the business of this? Really? Have you understood the basic objective of this program? The society or the institution or the body or the management, they may have some other direction or some other goals or some other objectives. The program has a particular objective. And then come down, then you have courses, papers, activities in this program. And all these activities and courses and papers, they have different objectives, and altogether they achieve the totality of all. And that totality has some yardstick. What is that yardstick? Have you ever thought of that whether the piece of activity in the classroom or outside the classroom is aligned with that broader goal? So that is one thing. Now, if you look at the journey of teacher training program in the world and in this country, worldwide teacher training was, as a formal kind of activity, is not very old. It's not very old. And there has been different philosophies. You must have I believe that my esteemed faculty members, they are aware of this, the different schools of thoughts, the philosophies, what you call it as idealism or naturalism or pragmatism or realism or existentialism, whatever. So like that. So they are the school of thoughts. And then in different civilizations in the world, this knowledge business started at different points. India is very that way. It's a very, very pioneer, I would say. Of course, there are other civilizations, the Greek and Mesopotamia, that civilization, other civilizations also, they are quite old and they have contributed a lot. Even in China, there have been many thinkers and they have given many things to the society. But training a kind of training, formal training was not existing those days. But there was a process, And I think that in India, when we look at the Vedic period and all, then we find that there was a way to build or transfer the knowledge, wisdom, something to others, say the guru to the shishya. That kind of thing was there. And later on, post-Vedic Upanishad, Brahmanic period also, it was little more developed, and this dialogic kind of technology and pedagogy, it was not given that name, but the attributes were the same, dialogic, and then it was a little better than the previous one. And it was very, and similarly in other civilizations also it happened. So this way it grew up, and then later on the Buddhist education you find some additional things. Then during my level video you find something, but nothing much new, no much more addition to the teaching learning process. Of course, content and philosophy and something that might have been added. And then when we come to the modern scientific education, there also, but yes, now this modern education, we had a concept slowly when the revolution started, industrial revolution started in the West, especially Europe, England, and for their children, the workers' children, they thought of having for engagement, having a center, and from there something evolved, and they wanted a person who can take care of them, and then from there something might have evolved that okay, so for these people also some sort of training is required, and like that, so and then Montessori and others, they brought ideas, and then based on the philosophy of the schools, nursery schools and nursery teacher training programs, etc. started. Now this is how the journey is. Now we are in 21st century, and the major change in this process is that broadly, if you say, so we find that okay, teacher used to be very important. So later on, the recent thinking is no. Teacher is okay, fine. Teacher is respectable. Teacher is someone who is more experienced. Teacher can inspire, motivate. Those things are there. But ultimately, the business is for students. The purpose, the target group is our students. So from the shift was all this transactional business, what we call it as pedagogy or teaching learning process, now shifted from this to this side. But that was a major revolution. And then entire paradigm, processes, techniques, skills, they were woven around that paradigm. What we call it as, sometimes somebody you will find the word child-centric or student-centric or learner-centric or learner-centered or something like that. All are so. So now that is a major shift. And then there also, now many things. And I find that after 2050, I mean post 28th or 20th century, there is a revolution kind of thing in this teaching learning process. Why I am taking this teaching learning process today for you? I find that this is the game changer. Having all said and done, when I raised my concern, the quality in schools, the connection between this classroom and the school classroom, the importance of teaching or training institutions here in this state or elsewhere in the country. Now those concerns I am trying to, I'm from, as a student of education, I am trying to bring those issues here and how these things are related. Anyway, so I find that sometimes your modality, your transaction paradigm, your teaching learning process, your teaching strategies, the skills you have, the techniques you have, the way you do in the classroom, that is more important than the concept written in the book. It's my understanding. If you remember that there was a committee constituted under the chairmanship of Professor Ishpal, and the committee was for addressing the issue of burden, the students' burden, and then it came out with a report that is known as Learning Without Burden. And that learning without burden, by this jargon, he did not mean the physical burden. Of course, physical burden is there on the child. The bag, the load of bag, and tiffin box, different books, side book, main book, homework, classwork, this, that. So that was one worry. But he is pointing here in this report that the load here, the word we are reading from the book, listening from others, I find the words, jargons. Here I am confining myself to education, but it is applicable to any field of knowledge, any domain. There are many words, jargons. We always use, and each domain has its own terminology. The problem with many of us is that sometimes for the sake of passing the exam or just vomiting somewhere before others, just to show your wisdom or a scholarship, or to pretend something that, oh, you know more than others, so you may be into that. Maybe your memory might be little better, so you can keep there in this box many things, and you will be using and using. But when you do not know what actually it means, what is the connotation in this jargon, and this connotation, how it relates with the life, or it would be useful for life now or sometime later, for me as well as for the society or the nation and the world. And that is a challenge. And that challenge, because it is a very rigorous task, there are layers of understanding there. It's not simple connotation. Each word, especially the technical word, or whatever profession you are in, each word has a meaning, and the meaning also has some layers, levels. So from one level to another level. And the job of a teacher is not just to repeat that. Take from the book, mug up, vomit, or these days the fashion is that, oh, prepare the slides, copy, paste, from book to PPT slides, and again you read out from there. What is new there? Again it's a replica of the book, and because it is helpful to the teacher, because many things teacher might not be recalling, so it is easy to see and speak. But even teacher doesn't know what exactly the word is. That is first challenge. And as I mentioned, now paradigm is changed. Now we have moved worldwide from this place to which place? That side. What we call it as the student-centric or learner-centric. So challenge is what? It's nobody teaching. It's all about learning, 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 learning. And learning occurs where? Learning occurs there, in learners. So this jargon, the concept, which is there in the book, maybe in your philosophy or psychology or in other papers, understanding that to all the levels, simple to complex, with applicability, and then making them understand our students, it's all a horrible task, and here lies the challenge. And there is the biggest gap here. Here, understanding these things, becoming clear in all these things, first, and vacuum is here, and second vacuum, biggest vacuum is that how to make others understand and how to make them reach the higher level of understanding, their meaning-making process. Once that will be arrived at, only then the application will be there. No application, it's all burden here. No understanding, it's all burden here. Though it's there in my mind and memory, I can use 100 times those jargons in my lecture and in my speech. But it's a burden for me, and I am burdening others, the audience also. But so this is the crisis. This is the crisis. Now, I am not here to because you have very esteemed and enlightened teachers with you, and this is very reputed umbrella, this management. I know because initially I mentioned that I was so influenced by the aura of this institute that I put my daughter here and she graduated from here. So now this is a band here in Patna especially, and you are here, so it's you should be proud of, and your teachers are very enlightened, I believe. Now here in teacher training program, 2 years program, you may be knowing that earlier it was of 1 year. It used to be of 1 year. Before that, it would be even shorter than 1 year. But okay, 1 year, it continued for many years. Then the worry was, I remember that when NCRT was established in 1961 in the country, and in mid-60s, we started the long-term teacher training program that we call the BA, BSc, PL integrated 4-year program. We started in NCRT in all the RIs, regional institutes, long back in mid-60s, 1960s. And it was a project, and the model we brought from America, and even for a few years it was monitored by that group, American experts and Indian experts together, and they evaluated and they came out with a report, and they found that this is really working very good. The long-term teacher training program is working wonderful. It is so effective, and so the research report was so positive. So then we continued with that, and we had this program 4 year. 4 year means what? The philosophy is the long term. Okay, fine. The major philosophy is long duration teacher training program, so that the grounding would be more. But Even Chattopadhyay committee was there in around 1982-83. It was meant for teachers only, and there also that committee in two parts submitted the report, and at length the committee advocated for a long duration teacher training program. And catching young, that was the thing. Means catching young is this after intermediate itself, you have to catch them and bring them to this. But it never materialized. Anyway, so it continued. Then of late, recently, I would say in 21st century, around 2011-12, Justice Verma Committee was constituted after the Right to Education Act, 2019. Justice Verma Committee was constituted, and it was Justice Verma Committee who strongly recommended that nothing doing, this teacher training program has to be of longer duration, and at least it should be of 2 years duration, this B.Ed program. Justice Verma Committee in 2012. And then NCT, the regulatory body, in 2014, it brought a change, and this program in 2014 regulation, the program was made of 2 years. Now why this 2 years? I will not go, because you know the structure. You have some perspective papers, I think. You have some pedagogic papers, and then you have a practicum kind of thing. 3 dimensions I take from this course design. Okay, perspective papers, pedagogic papers, and then practicum. Now come to practicum. To my understanding, even pedagogic papers and perspective papers, whosoever is dealing with those papers, educational philosophy or psychology or sociology, research, even that class transaction should also follow the same pedagogic principle which we are advocating for the school transaction. Perspective papers think, this is none of my business. This is something the work of pedagogic faculty members, those who are dealing with methods.